Patricia Avant. She's a late blooming writer, artist, and newly dubbed filmmaker, and everything she does is spiritual in nature. She loves diving into ancient texts, and she believes in trying to understand the magic of life. And she's decided the purpose of life is to find your way back. I've often said that many a times myself. This was an amazing talk with Patricia Avant. She is the filmmaker who decided to make this amazing film called Black People Do See UFOs. I applaud her guts, her guile, her attitude, her outlook on life. She's an amazing human being, and I was so grateful to sit down and talk with her tonight. I hope you enjoy this. It's an hour. It's Patricia Avant and I just talking, being humans, and loving the moment. I hope you enjoy it. I was on Twitter one day, and I saw a tweet that popped up, and it was Black People Do See UFOs. And I was like, what is this? Let me check this out. So I clicked the link, and I sat, and I started watching your movie, which, we're going to put the description in the links in the description for all your websites and everything here, and have everybody please go to it and check it out. And I started watching it, and I couldn't stop watching it. And like the most amazing video that you captured, I was just enamored with all of it. I was like, wow, this is like something I've never seen before. I've seen orbs in my own personal life. I've seen, I've never seen an actual disc or a craft that other people seen, but I've seen videos and, pop culture and all that stuff. But the things that you captured are just like mind bending. And I was like, I got to figure out what this is all about. And at the beginning, you know what I mean? And at the beginning you were kind of like, I don't know if this is true or not. Maybe you can shed a little light on this, but in the beginning it was like a lot of, you kind of didn't like put yourself out there right away, right? You didn't like say, hey, this is me. This is who I am. And this is what I did, right?
I put up a few here and there on YouTube a while back. They were, I wanted to see them myself on TV as opposed to watching them little. And a few people said something here or there. I actually sent the first two to NASA I spoke with the guy, his Giuseppe or something like that. And he said, well, okay, go ahead. And I think they thought it was going to be a kind of a joke at first, right? And then he said, yeah, send him, go ahead. Yeah. And then he emailed me back and he goes, well, these are great. He said, there was only two. He says, but I'm the wrong guy to ask what these are. And I'm like, if I can't ask NASA, who can I ask?
Right, right. Yeah.
But so I don't know. I think I thought it wasn't a big deal because I can't, and I still can't imagine that nobody else saw this stuff but me.
See, now that's, you said exactly verbatim what I just said in one of my last videos. And I've said this previously is that my daughter and I don't know if you've heard this before. I tell this story all the time. I'm sure everybody's tired of hearing it, but it was the 5th of July this year. It was hot. My daughter's going to be 3 in like a week. So she's 2, and we're hanging outside and it's just my wife, my 2 daughters and I, and really hot, just playing in the kiddie pool. And she lays down on the deck flat and she's never done this before. And she's like, Daddy, lay down right here. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I put head to head to her and I looked up, she's like, look, and there's this white ball in the sky. And it was just orb. And I'm like, whoa, and she's like, yeah. And she got up and it was just like, no big deal. And, I'm just like, oh my God, my wife and I, I'm taking videos and stuff. And my 10-year-old stepdaughter walks outside and she's like, look, there's another one, and points to the other side of the sky, and there's another one. And it's just like, oh my God, I'm just like, this is amazing. So I got the neighbors and we're all looking at it, binoculars, everybody's filming it. So I went into MUFON and I was like, Mutual UFO Area Network. And I'm like, I got to figure out, and it lasted for hours. And I go, there had to have been like people from, I'm the northern Ohio, and, I got people from Michigan, and I'm like, from everywhere I had to have seen this, nothing. I was like, everybody had to have seen this. This is such a thing where everybody had to have seen it. And if I wouldn't have shaken my neighbor, right? If I didn't shake my neighbor and make him see it, he would have been just like whatever anyway, But so you said the same exact thing I did. I'm like, everybody had to have seen this, right?
I couldn't imagine that nobody has seen these crazy things. That the one, I'm hoping the same one that you saw is the one that started showing up across the street from my house every morning behind a tree. Oh. I was filming other little stars. And then that one, I don't know if you noticed this, remember, it's a video of one big ball going across the treetops.
Right.
Well, that started showing up behind that tree every morning at around 4 or 5 o'clock. And I would just start filming it. At first, it would just be kind of really bright. And if I tried to zoom in on it, it would get kind of flat and brown. And then it started doing the thing where it looks like a rolling ball of fire.
Right.
You know, and then it started doing this thing that these are different times, stretching out and just doing all kind of crazy stuff and ending up in the top of the sky, going through a red cloud every morning.
Wow.
And I can't believe nobody else has saw it. I refuse to believe that. I think they've seen it. The people that matter, the NASA and all of those people, I think they're just not talking about it.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off with that. So you went to NASA originally, and they're like, well, we're not the people to talk to. So who did they send you to?
They didn't meet anybody. I had saw this article, Rhonda Shaw, I think her name. It was a black lady, and I was really surprised that there were any black people working there. I really was. I don't know why. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to send it to her.
Right.
And got up my nerve to, she was through NASA University. And lo and behold, it was a phone number when I Googled it.
Wow.
Not to NASA itself, but to this NASA University.
Okay.
So I call and I get the receptionist, and I don't know why I lost my nerve to ask for her. And then I just told the receptionist, well, you know, I videoed these two strange things this morning. I would really like for somebody to look at them and just maybe tell me what they are.
Right.
And she kind of giggled. And then she transferred me to and I'm not pronouncing his name correctly, Giuseppe. It's so much longer than that.
Right,
and,
right.
And when he answered the phone, he kind of giggled too. He said, who sent you here? And then he said, well, I said, I just told her I wanted somebody to look at these things. And so
Right.
he says, okay, well, go ahead and send them. So I did. He emailed me right back. These are great, beautiful pictures. I don't know if I'm the right person. Then I said, well, could you maybe forward them to Rhonda? And he did. He never said I would, but to my surprise, he did. She emailed me back probably in 30 minutes, all these questions. Where are you? Where did you see these? What time of day? What direction are you looking?
Really?
And before I could give her an answer, she emailed me back and told me, don't break my camera and not to zoom out that far. And then she never said another word.
Wow. That
And
was it.
I have the emails to prove it.
Yeah. Wow.
And that was that. So I figure
Wow.
either I don't know. I couldn't figure that one out.
No, that's amazing. So like, so where are you? I mean, like I said, if you don't want to disclose where you're at or where you're at, I mean, no direct location.
I've already got some crazy
people.
stuff.
Yeah. So you're in the United States. We can say that,
I'm
right?
in the United States, yeah. And
Okay.
I am in Michigan.
Okay. So you're in Michigan. So I'm just south of Toledo. So I'm just.
Okay.
So I'm just.
Wow, you're hop and jump. Huh?
Okay. Yeah. So I'm real close to you. So you might have been seeing the same things I have. I mean, it was just there. But. So, I mean, that's crazy. I mean, it's awesome that you reached out to NASA and they just, kind of gave you all this information. And then she just quit communication. She just didn't say anything after that. Did you try reaching back out and say, hey, any of this?
I did not. At that point, I think I kind of thought, well, maybe this really isn't any big thing. And this just looks crazy to me, but maybe it's not a big thing. And I kind of put it on the back shelf. And then I would just go back and look at them from time to time. And the more I did that, I thought, I need to do something with them. So I tried putting a few up on Twitter and, people would respond and look, I got a lot of views and whatever that means, but nobody commented. And a few people would ask me, God, what are these? And I would go, God, I don't know.
Right.
And
Right. Yeah.
But I put the video, I decided to do the documentary in December. And all that stuff just kind of fell in place. The stock music and all that kind of fell in place. And I put it up, and it had been up for probably at least 2 weeks. No real response or anything. And I was talking with this guy one day about love. And we had this deep Twitter conversation. We ended it very nicely. And the next thing I know, he retweeted it.
Okay.
And that's when you saw it.
That's when I saw it.
That's when everybody else saw it. And then it kind of, I don't know what made it take. Yeah. That's weird, right?
No, it's great. I mean, that's kind of the thing that happens.
That's the way it goes.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
So how long what year did you, have you been having these experiences your whole life? Is this something that just recently happened? Is it did it happen? When was the first time you saw something like this?
2016. sitting in my living room about 1 o'clock in the morning. I look out my window, it's really blazing hot. I got all the windows open, everything up, and I see this orange ball to my left, and it's just sitting there very low between an open field between two buildings. Didn't think anything of it because it was so low. I just didn't think anything. I kind of looked again and it was there. And maybe the third time I get up, go to the door on the balcony to look, and the ball in the front is gone, but I look to my left, and it's 4 of them hanging in the sky, just hanging there.
Wow.
And my son and I were discussing this just the other day, that they were so low. You know, that was an amazing thing too. The other amazing thing was that, now this was 2016, that they didn't seem to be concerned if anybody saw them. And, you know, so we're standing there and scared to death.
So you were with him. You both saw this together then, right?
Oh, yeah. My son and I saw this together.
Right.
And
Okay.
And so then a group of people came from around the corner, maybe about 5 or 6 people headed to a car. They were kind of drunk. But the one lady, only one person in that crowd turned around and goes, "What the F is that?"
Right.
And they all turn around, get in the car and drive off.
Hey, whatever, yeah. Oh,
but I think, you know, we, for some reason, even we looked at them, we stood there for a few minutes. I didn't have a camera at that time, but I did have an iPod. But I don't know, I think I was afraid to get it, you know.
Because you didn't want to miss seeing it, right?
No, I didn't want them to shoot me.
Okay.
I didn't care if they saw me. I knew that if I saw them, they had to see me.
Okay, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and my son says, you know, maybe it's a drone.
Yeah.
I go, yep, looks like a drone to me. Let's go sit down.
So this is bizarre. I mean, because we've had this, my wife and I have had this exact same experience. So it was probably around 16, 17, coming home. It was like raining, sleeting sideways. It was around Thanksgiving time. We're coming over the Maumee River. It's near my house. Okay. So we're going over the river and she's driving and there's orange balls. There's just orange orbs and they're all over, like in the sky. And they're like, and they were moving in a way that didn't make any sense to me. It was like, you're here, there's like, you know, and I'm making them smaller, but there's like one here, and then it changing, you know, and they're just kind of doing that, like with each other, just changing places. And my wife is you know, like she doesn't want anything to do with any of this stuff, right? And this has been like this. I've grown up with this my whole life, and this is just kind of what, you know, my passion and, you know, what I like to do. And you know, and I'm like, look, and she's like, yeah, no, and I'm like, stop the car, and she's freaking out, and I'm like, stop the car. She's like, no, I'm not gonna stop the car. And she's like, it's Christmas lights. It's a you know, a paper lantern. I'm like, it's raining. So your brain automatically goes through all of these things. You try to, like, as a drone, it's whatever else, right? It's all these things that you try to explain it away as things that you know.
Wrap your head around.
Yeah, and so you just try to forget about it and go away. And I joke around about it, but I always say the orange orb is like the gateway UFO. Like once you see that one, then all bets are off after that. Everything is going to start happening to you.
You're going to see everything, you know. And
that's what happened to you, right? 2016. This is what happened. You saw these orange things.
And I sit down. My son goes to his room. About 20 minutes later, he calls me because we had a back patio too. Says, "Ma, they're back here." Oh, so I go to his room, and now it's like 5 of them. The 4 small ones, and another one that was slightly larger. 3 of them were lined in a row. I mean, they were way up high now. Now they look like stars.
Wow. But before they were close to the ground and big,
Close to the ground and big.
Okay, gotcha.
So they go up there, and there's 3 in the middle, 1 to the left, and a bigger one to the right. The 3 in the middle move up one at a time, disappear into something until all 3 were gone. The next one followed behind, and then the big one followed behind, and they just all disappeared. And that was that. And from 2016, that June till sometime this year, even with everything that I videoed in between, my son and I never talked about that.
Wow, really? You just pretended like it didn't happen.
Even the videos, sometimes he's coming around. He'll look at some of the videos and say, "You think it's Starlink? Or do you think it's a it could be a satellite, or it could be this or that. And so one day I pulled out the one, I think it's number 25, and that's the one that looks like a big rock dome. And then it changes into, to me, it could only be a ship.
Right.
And I said, does that look like a drone to you?
What was his response to that?
He said, no. I said, I don't know what they are, but you can't keep trying to say that they're not what they appear to be. They're definitely not satellites. They're definitely not anything other than something that we don't know what they are, but they're not satellites. Right.
They're not anything that you can explain away as something you can point to it and say that's what it is. And that's kind of what I wanted to do with the MUFON thing. I wanted to say, have somebody say, yeah, okay, there's 100 people that saw this, and it was a balloon. And you know what the response to me was? It was a weather balloon.
Oh my God, I'm so sick of people telling me that everything I have is a Mylar balloon.
Yeah, right. I know. It's like, let's just throw that, or swamp gas, right? Just throw that out there.
Good night. We're not alone. Okay.
No, not at all. No, totally. And so, I mean, it's really hard. And so for my wife too, she's just like, she won't still admit it. I mean, she knows I do this, and our friends have seen these videos and things like that, but she still is like, she just refuses to talk about it. And she's like, And for the longest time, I'm not kidding you, she was like, no, that didn't happen. And it was just her and I. It was just her and I, like me and you talking. Wow. And I was like, that happened. Like, that we saw that. And then after the second one with the balls and the kids, I was like, are you going to admit there's multiple people now? Are you going to admit that happened? She's like, yeah, okay, that happened. So I think it's like really hard for some people to just say that it's real or that you don't know what it is,
They've been scared to death, with Star Wars and all of that. And they're looking for all these crazy monsters to come down there and hurt us, I think.
Yeah, that's probably Hollywood, right? You think that's a Hollywood negative programming of yeah.
I think that's one of the things you and the three guys were kind of discussing, the fact that people are looking for the ships to kind of appear the way we see them in the movies.
Right.
And I don't think they're anything like that, But to get back to the red balls.
Yes.
I eventually realized, I don't know if you watched the entire video.
I did. Okay.
Well, there's the part where I say, and these things, and it's a green thing that shoots by.
Yes.
And I've only seen those maybe 2 or 3 times, and I've never seen them with my eyes. In other words, I've never videoed them like I'm looking. I'm looking at something else. And then when I slow the video down the next time, that's when I saw those.
Wow. And
it appears to me that the red things are kind of directing traffic.
Oh.
I've got 1 or 2 of them where there's a red one and a white one, and they do a 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2. They do a kind of a pattern.
Okay.
The blinking, and the next thing you know, the green thing shoots by.
Wow.
So God, I'm hoping that I don't get up in the morning and there's a black truck in front of my house like this.
Patricia, I've been saying this in every video that I've ever recorded. I was like, until this year, I expected fully to have somebody show up and pull me out of here with a bag on my head and go, dude, you can't talk about this anymore.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm like, okay. And I keep saying this to the people. Those people are probably watching. Cool. Just come tell me. You don't have to do the bag thing. You don't have to take me out. It's fine. I don't need to have an accident. I'm cool.
Nothing. They can have every one of the videos.
Yeah, you can have all this shit. You can come get it all.
Because I'm like you. I'm just waiting for somebody to say, well, those are. I would be happy with that.
Yeah. Right.
So far, no one has said, and I'm surprised, I put the fact that I spoke and sent them to Nassau in the video on purpose, because I'm thinking they'll say, no, she didn't, or
right,
just anything.
Any response, right?
And nothing. And so, or as I say, crickets.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's been their official kind of stance forever, though. Really, is just kind of stay out of it. I mean, without saying anything, you're saying a lot or nothing at all, I guess. But I mean, that's kind of you would think they would be the people to know, but I think that through all the years of all this, that people have realized that, 70, 80 years of this, that I don't think they don't have the answers either. They really don't. They really don't.
And I actually saw an article one day last year. I pulled it down. I keep forgetting to try to find it, where I guess there's a group of astrologists that are seeing really, really strange things. And they thought they were nebulas, because I thought what I was seeing at first was some type of low-lying nebula.
So what were you using, by the way? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but what were you filming with on all these things?
This is my Canon camera. It's just a really regular, basic camera.
With a zoom. Yep, digital camera, right?
Digital camera, yeah. And sometimes when I first started trying to, because I started filming the stars because I got tired of filming the moon.
Okay.
The moon didn't change. I mean, I got some strange stuff on the moon too, but basically the moon kind of stayed the same. But I said, I wonder if I could get how close I could get to a star. That's how that all started.
And then these things started happening after your orange ball experience. Then things started appearing.
I imagine maybe that was the, what do you call it? The prelude. That was the, because I got the camera the following December for Christmas.
Okay.
And I still was doing the moon. And then around January or February or something, I started trying to do the star. And I stayed on my back or in the chair or on my knees at the window somewhere from that day until we got evicted. And I couldn't see them like I could see them from, because we're on the first floor now. We were on the balcony there. But I was interviewed by Wendy at Wendy's Coffee House, and I was telling her that and maybe around September of last year, I started to see the big white one again.
Okay.
It started showing up around the back of my house where I'm at now. So I said, well, I think they may have found me.
It's fun. It's funny, but it's not. I mean, that's kind of a thing. It does seem to find you people that when they, you're not going to hide. It's just one of those things.
And then the thing hanging from the moon, I saw that in December of last year, I think. And the funny thing is, when I look back, because I had so many videos that I hadn't looked back at all of them. And so when I started looking back, I realized I had seen that red thing that was hanging from the moon behind the tree also at one time when I was videoing. And it's the triangle thing. So I don't know.
It's so striking. Your videos are so amazing because to me, and this is just my interpretation of them, but they look organic in a way. They look like a jellyfish or a sea anemone or like a manta ray or when I look at the videos and they just kind of flow and move like a living creature would be, in the sky,
Well, somebody mentioned to me, and then I thought too, that maybe our sky is the ocean for the other things.
Could be.
Totally, because they are moving in such a way that they do seem like they're going through water,
right?
Or they don't move. You would think they would be, except when they decide that they're getting ready to take off. Phew, Then they do a whole totally different thing. I don't know if you saw the last one I put up. It's a one in the daytime. It's from behind the tree too, but it's kind of and I don't know why they look. They look like the white star or the light. And after a while, when you zoom in on some of them, start to look like a big lump of cottage cheese or something. That's the only way I can explain it. They're brown and lumpy looking. Well, this one that I did put up about, I think it was last week, and it's moving in such a funny way. The next thing I know, it kind of pulls back because I was pulling the camera behind it because it was moving so quickly. So I would try to stay behind it and then move up and then move behind it. And it kind of pulled back at one point and shot off, and it took a complete square shape.
Wow.
It looks like a box.
Right.
Yeah. And this one guy says it was a floating seat cushion. So, okay.
Because those happen all the time.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And I want to know what kind of seat cushion floats. First of all.
I'll take a couple of those, please.
Right.
Would you feel real good to sit down on a floating sea cushion?
Okay, and just go out. But so I don't know. I don't have a clue. I've had a lot of different opinions and ideas. Wendy, again, she says that I managed to get on their frequency.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to. The question I was going to ask: Do you do you have any type of communication with any? I mean, are you meditating? Are you doing anything to like communicate with these things?
No.
Nope.
The only time there would mostly be in the front or around the side. And then this one night I was filming the Big Dipper was off to my east, I guess, that way. Mm-hmm. And I look over, and normally I would see one or two, and it was maybe about 12 of these stars.
Wow. Okay.
And one was bigger, closer. Mm-hmm. So I'm filming like a mad dog because now they're everywhere. I'm trying to get this one and this jumping. And so when I started filming the larger one, it wasn't as large as the white one across in the tree. That was the first and only time that I ever felt like something was watching me back. Okay. And that really scared me.
Really?
Yeah.
It made you afraid?
It did. And I had not felt that. I didn't feel like it was trying to frighten me, because there is one that I did feel like it was trying to intimidate me.
Really?
The one that looks like a face. The one that changes and looks like a face. But it just frightened me because I hadn't felt that.
Okay.
I had been doing all this filming and all the time and this is beautiful, it's wonderful. Some of them made me cry. Mm-hmm. That time, and it was so many of them. Like I said, about 12 all in the space, and I hadn't seen that. Mm-hmm. And that one frightened me, and I stopped filming for a little bit because I don't want to be abducted. At least not yet. So, and I'm telling you, I had a hard time sleeping that night. I was really watching for something to come stand in the doorway. Right.
That's a legitimate fear. I mean, but you never felt like you weren't sitting in your living room and something said, or you had a feeling or a thought in your head like, hey, I should get up and go outside right now. There was nothing like trying to communicate with you to say, hey, come out and go do. There's nothing.
Well, they didn't have to, because once I saw the first one go nuts in the camera, mm-hmm. I was there every night.
Gotcha.
I mean, I got up, I set my alarm. I have videos where I can hear my son saying, "Good night, Mom." And then, "I'm going to work, Mom." Mm-hmm. Because I'm up all from 4 in the morning till the time, or 12 at midnight, till he's getting ready to go to work the next morning. Because that's how long it would take the white one across the street and behind the tree. It would take it some time to move across the trees, or it's really not across the trees. It just looks like that. I don't know how far away it is, mm-hmm. but that, and it would take it some time to get all the way up to the red cloud. So I would film that. And what's the funny thing is that I don't know what this feeling is that can come over you. After a while, as beautiful as it was, as strange as it was, I got bored.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I had this kind of feeling of, about it. It was weird. It's
just like a normal occurrence, just like you see the male guy or lady every day, right? It's kind of the same thing.
It started to feel that way, and I'm thinking that's a weird thing. Mm-hmm. But are you familiar with? It's an older guy. His last name is Tompkins. He was with this lady that has a show called Project Camelot. She interviewed him. He worked with NASA, and a lot of different things.
Yeah. William Tompkins, I think he's retired. Yeah.
He's passed. He passed, I think, 2013. Well, there was a thing that he said that struck me very much when I first saw the interview, which was, he said that when he was about 17, I think, that he and his family were living in Los Angeles, and that they actually witnessed the Battle of Los Angeles.
Right.
Yeah. And the point he kept trying to get across to her, but it just kept going over her head, I think, was that he was amazed that they stood there for those many hours, watched it, and after a while it was like, and they went in the house.
Yeah, like it wasn't.
They're blowing up everything, spaceships and everything.
We're just going to go inside.
Something came over them he didn't know if it was a hypnosis or what, where they just kind of and went in the house.
That's amazing.
And so I that's how I started to get with this one for some reason. It was like, well, okay, you're just going to keep roaring around and flipping around, and that's enough. I'm going to go see something else. And it's weird. I'm like, if you're not going to come down here and say something, which I probably didn't want anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean, there's a thing called CE5, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but where you try to bring them in, and it was another one of those things. My wife was like, no, because you're going to bring them into you, and they're going to take me. That's right. And I was like, okay, all right, okay, maybe, but I don't know.
I feel that way too. I'm not ready for that. I mean, if I didn't have my son and my grandson, maybe I would be open to abduction.
At least more communication or something. Just a contact, right?
I'm into this. I don't want anything showing up, scaring them to death.
Right. Ancillary things. Right.
Yeah.
I totally understand that. I totally do. I mean, that's cool. I mean, and I've never had anything like speak to me or anything like that. Lately, I think kind of that I've been into this more and concentrating on it. I've had moments where thoughts that were not my own, that were just straight phrases, or different, like maybe a sentence or things like that just come in very clear. Things that I wouldn't normally say, and I've been writing those down, and I look back at them, I'm like, I don't even understand what that means, but maybe in time, or things like that. But, I just thought I'd ask because a lot of people have the experience to go. You have had that as well?
Yeah, I couldn't say that it was, I hadn't had anything that I could say. I don't know if it would be directly from them, but I've had that probably all my life, that kind of a thing, that somebody was with me. Is that what you kind of mean? Yeah. I always attribute that I was a loner, traumatic growing up, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's, that type of thing. And so I never thought of it as, I don't know. I don't think I ever thought of it as any kind of I guess I have. But I always think of it as God, I guess.
Well, yeah. I mean, like somebody's with you, talking to you, or helping you, or help, along the way. I mean, a lot of it, people have experiences, and they totally equate all of it to God, to angels, to everything that's around us that that we can reach out to and talk to, and maybe that's what it is. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I went from the belief that it was people visiting us from other dimensions or other stars or whatever to it could be anything. I mean, it could be all of the above. It could be light beings. It could be angels. It could be whatever. But I think all of us. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. No, go.
Have you ever read the Pistis Sophia?
I have not.
You familiar with it at all?
No, I'm not.
You might want to look into that. It's not a very long book. It's an ancient text.
Okay.
And I don't know where you are on that line of spirituality, if you, Jesus and the devil and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some real deep explanations in there. I mean, that even at some point, the other day I was wondering if the things that I am seeing are actually what you see before you die.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Sort of a guide.
Yeah. So we've always heard that in my life too. My dad's side is Polish, and they were always like, everybody, your father, whoever passed before you would come before you die.
Well, not necessarily those people, but just the guides that do this on a regular basis, not your family.
Gotcha. The people that bring you across.
Yeah, the ones that bring you there, bring you through. And I said that because in the Pistis Sophia, I don't like to think about that, but there's this part where everybody has been told that Jesus was sitting on the mount apart from the 12 disciples, and he was doing some type of meditation, blah, blah, blah. But in this particular book, it says what he was doing is he was being reminded that the guides were coming to retrieve him, to remind him that it was time for him to leave. And the light beam that was coming down that surrounded him, that was on its way.
Wow.
And the thing that was in somewhere attached to this vessel, it's called a vessel of some sort. It's a light vessel that's supposed to be so many lights that the people around it couldn't stand it, and it caused earthquakes and a whole bunch of other problems. But he had a constant, a note, a reminder that reminded him who he was and why he came, and that it was time to go.
Wow.
So I don't know, many things. I know that there's got to be a reason.
Yeah.
That I'm seeing this stuff.
Right. And I mean, and that kind of draws me to the title of your website and the title of your film and all that stuff. I mean, and it brings me back to, it's Black People Do See UFOs. And it always strikes me. I mean, I grew up with this. My dad is 80, he's going to be 81 now, and he's had experience in the 50s, right? And he saw something and it just changed his life. And then he saw something else in the 60s, and it was a reoccurring thing, right? And like we're talking about, once you see it once, it's like it doesn't ever go away, right? So I grew up with I grew up with him just telling me, this is what it is. It's real, and I never saw it another way. I never saw it as, tinfoil hat. I never saw it as, you know what I mean? Like as a fringy thing, or people shouldn't talk to you or whatever like that. I just, and I always was really weirded out when people were like, looked at me weird for saying these things. Yeah, exactly. And I was like, what do you mean? This is a real thing, but, as you go through and everything, and you see the TV shows, you see all the books, the videos and all the things, but there's a definite lack of multicultural, multiracial people all across the board. Yeah. There's no diversity in any of this. And so that was one of the big things that jumped out, that I was like, good. I'm so glad that you did this and that this is here, I'm like, thank God, and, and I don't know. And I'd like to ask you, I mean, like, is it a stigma? Is it why? I don't know.
Now you want to go too deep now.
No, we can go as deep as you'd like.
Okay. In Africa, before we came here, magic was our foundation.
Totally.
That was something that was beaten, hung, raped, taken straight out of us. And it was told to us to be something horrible, bad, crazy, whatever. So you have us here now, right? And generation after generation after generation teaching that. So it's gone.
So you've like forgotten in a way.
Forgotten. You can't even talk about it, because not only is it forgotten, but the Black church had even decided that it was evil and wrong and blasphemous and all kind of things.
Wow.
So, you don't stand there at your mother and say you saw or whatever, or any of that, because you're going to go straight to hell.
Wow.
And so we have lost complete contact with our magic. And I was talking to a lady the other day, we were talking about that, and I said, in my mind, magic is just a different, science and religion are just different words for magic.
That's beautiful.
And
I completely agree.
So we're looking, there's something in the Bible that says that we're looking at the candle when in fact you got the whole sun to explain everything, but you're in awe of this candle. It's a big deal. And so and you take that, and then you, on top of that, you have go out in the car and you're just going for a drive, and police kills you, shoot your kids, shoots the woman, beats them for nothing. And of course, there's plenty of us that deserve it, as in any race.
Right, yeah.
Well. But when you can't just walk out the door, and I think I said this to a guy the other day, and I hope it's okay if I curse. It was like, hey,
no, you can cuss. Go ahead.
Give a fuck about a UFO. If they can't come down here and fucking take us out of this situation, why do I care if they're up there? Apparently they don't care. So I think in the big picture,
Mm-hmm.
it's that we have just been turned so far around. And it's a crazy thing when you begin to look to, and of course, not all people, not all white people, of course, I know this, but when you start to look to your oppressor to save you,
Right.
and again, you got this whole big universe with God or whatever's up there, and you constantly turn into this particular group. We want this, you didn't give us that, you took that. Then that's where your energy is. That's where it flows. You know, you're missing the whole big picture. So I think saying all that to say that we have, it's like gravity. We've lost our connection.
Wow.
You know, and so if we ever get that connection back, and I think part of, I don't know what the agenda is for us, for people of color on this planet, but there's something, you know, and it's not good.
No, you don't think it's good?
No, you know, I mean, whatever the agenda is on this planet is not good for us. The intentions are not good, you know, and there's an effort to keep us separated and divided, and never even speaking like this. I mean, I really feel like I could go to jail for speaking like this.
Really?
I think somebody would find a reason to want me shut up.
Wow.
You know, because I feel that strongly that we're looking in the wrong direction, not in any effort to hurt anybody else, but just to figure out why anybody, an entity, a source, a God, or whatever, would leave us locked down here on this planet with a group of people that appear to hate us.
Wow. So,
so it's all connected for me. Spiritual, UFO, all of it. It's all the same for me. You know, it's so it's not that I don't think we don't see UFOs. I think we just don't. If there was such a thing as, if I see this beautiful thing up here and it can't help me, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
No,
know?
yeah.
So I think that's pretty much where we are with that. I don't think we don't see them. I think we don't have time to try to get to understand what we're seeing. And I think that's a mistake and a problem for us.
That's amazing. I really appreciate you telling me that. I mean, it's beautiful. And I think you nailed it right. And I mean, you know, I put myself right into everything you were saying there. And it strikes back to me, one of those things that came to me, you know, was that you can completely conquer and rule and subjugate an entire race of a race or you know, humans if you divide them. I mean, and that's always that, if you divide them and you're black, you're white, you're rich, you're poor, you're Asian, you're Mexican, you know, like anything, if you just start putting these two diverse things next to each other to divide people, it turns their attention away from what you really should be paying attention to.
What they should be paying attention to. And I tell you, and it's not, you know, it's so deep. You know, there's there was a journalist, and he called Lemon. I can't think of Lemon's first name. He called him the first openly black man. Openly black.
Openly black? That's a thing?
To say, no. And, you know, of course, Black Twitter went crazy about it. And so I put it in my title on Twitter, Openly Black, but with paper bag issues, because there's so many issues within. Not only have they divided us Mexican, Latina, making up new names as they go along, you know, then you have divisions within the divisions. You know, so like,
so you're not black enough, you're not white enough, you're not.
Oh my God! You know, it's like, so to me, at some point, somebody has to really, really want to know, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know, what do they want? You know, what is it that they want, or what is it that they don't want? You know, and either way, it goes back to the Bible, which of course now is totally discredited. You know, the Bible is fake, it's a myth, it's this, that, and the other. But there's some stuff in the Bible that is so directly related to Africans that you know, whatever reason he got pissed off at them, I think it was idolatry, and he told them that they would be in a place where they would smear dung on their face. You go right there today and find that. And that they would also cook with dung, and that was a punishment. You know, so you know it's a lot to it. You know, I don't know what these things are, what they want. On one hand, I don't want to know. On the other hand, I'm sure if there's a reason that I must know, that it'll happen.
Well, I think you've done an amazing thing and I really applaud you and I really appreciate you. And I think it's an amazing thing that you've done what you've done. You've took a step, you took a leap. You said, this is happening. I'm seeing this. I can't be the only one. I need to do something about it. And you made your film. Yeah. And you decided to come on Twitter. And you decided to put it out there and say, look, this is me. This is what I saw. This is what's going on. And I'm not the only one. This is in not only, you know, the world, but in your community and in the broader community of Earthlings, right? I mean,
right.
And I think it needs to be okay for anybody, people of color, race, creed, anything, to be able to say, look, yes, we're experiencing things that we can't explain.
Yeah.
And just start the conversation, because I think being quiet about it, I think keeping it inside, I think being told that it's not, I think being told that it's the devil or whatever, I think that's the worst of all of it. I mean, because nobody can say that. I mean, I can't, nobody can say that that's what it is, you know? I mean, but I think that you should at least be able to have the intelligent conversation about what your experiences are.
Yeah. Well, I was invited on the club also with Abram and Spence, and I'm terrible at last names.
It's okay.
And Spence, the gentleman Spence, actually has a room. I think that's what they call them, paranormal, and so I'm not into ghosts and all of that, you know.
Right.
But that's where they are, and it was surprisingly a few African Americans that stepped up and, for the first time, post some of their stories, you know, or and you know, just afraid of looking crazy or sounding stupid or sounding, you know, weird, or you know, and don't want to get your children taken away.
Well, I mean, I know. I mean, I feel the same way. I mean, I just want to put that right out there. I'm ready. I swear the van is probably circling the block right now just from this conversation. But I think that I don't think that we're going to get anywhere as a species unless we all are in this together. I honestly don't. I really don't. I think that all of us to have our experiences be known, you know?
Well, I tell you, I certainly have started some kind of conversation on Twitter, because I'm telling you, and I hate to keep saying white and black, but it's just where it's just the truth.
It's just the truth, yeah.
Yeah, because most of the people that are connected to me on Twitter or encouraging me are white. It's just the way it is, you know. And the other day I wake up and I'm see my name, my tag down at the bottom that says FYI, front porch astronaut. And I'm thinking, oh God, what did I say now? And so I backtracked through the timeline of it. And there was this another white Twitter leader follower, and she had been arguing with a male white Twitter UFO person about them not allowing women in, not listening to women, and making the women feel stupid, or saying they didn't know enough, or their research was weak. And she was going at this guy, and he said that his response was there were no women really researching it, no women really looking into it, blah, blah, blah. And as a response to him, she put, FYI, front porch astronaut. So that's how she was like using me to say, oh yes, they are. right. No, I mean, I mean, that's totally a thing too. I mean, there's some people out there that are women that are amazing researchers, but you're right. I mean, it's like a white guy thing. And I hate to say that, but it is. Why is that, do you think? I mean, what, aside from our own personal thing that's going on, say in the Black community.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they exclude? So, because to me personally, the kind of research that he's talking about, going through all these files, the disclosure, redactions, and all of that, to me, you could do that for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And who's to say any of that crap is even real?
No. Yeah. No.
And the vast majority of these guys don't seem to have had any legitimate experiences.
Right. And that's the scary part. And I don't know if it's an entitlement thing. I don't know if it's people that, I really don't know, but I see it, a lot, that people want to say, I've talked to this person and I know somebody, and, I know all these things, but, I don't know. And I think it really goes back to, and this is getting deep, but I really think back, this goes back to the base, the early religion on the planet, that the divine feminine was, kept on purpose, kept down. From all the research I've been doing now, Chris Bledsoe, I'm not familiar with Chris Bledsoe's story, but so I mean, like the lady, coming to him and the bull, and, that's been going on forever. Fatima's going on, all these things that, the woman, the divine feminine has been left out. The Catholic Church, was the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. Well, it's the Father, the woman, the mother and the Son. It's not the Holy Ghost. I mean, and I really think she's pissed in my mind. I mean, and she wants to come back, and I think she should. I really do. I think because at some point, men, in positions of power or whatever they decided to subjugate or, put down women because they were afraid of the power that women hold and that they possess, and what that meant for humanity. And that's just my personal belief, that I think that women honestly do have that. Why do they have the Salem witch trials? Why do they have? It's always been about against women, throughout history. But why? Because women really do have a better connection. They do have that in their soul and their hearts,
spiritual.
And they're you just have it, right? And I think men were just like, well, we can't have that, at some point.
You got to read this book.
Okay.
You have to read, and I would love to come back after you read Pistis Sophia. I don't think I've been reading it for 10 years.
It's called what again? Tell me it one more time.
Pistis, Pistus, Sophia.
Okay, got it. Pistis Sophia. I'll read it for sure.
10 years, right? Mm-hmm. When I stumbled across it. And the thing that tripped me up the first time, I'm using this as a validation, is that they were talking about the times of when the planet's poles are flipped.
Oh, wow.
You familiar with that?
Yeah, every 12,000 years.
Not every 12,000 years. It's happening now.
It is.
Yeah. And I kept reading that, and I couldn't understand it. Then fast forward, maybe year before last, I come across these articles on the internet. Big caption: Are the poles flipping now? We thought it was only going to be every, oops, this might happen. They're making a light joke out of it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
3 or 4 different articles talking about this, but not in the big media. Mm-hmm.
Right.
That this could be actually occurring now. And when you find out why the poles are being flipped, if you believe this sort of thing, and I just happen to believe it, it may answer some questions for you, but I would like you to, if you get a chance to read it. I don't want to say this is why and whatever. I'm surprised that, again, one of those things where I've not run into one other person. I know other people that are reading. There's a whole society on this book, but I would think more people into UFOs or ufology or UFAPs would have come across this book. But it's free. You can download the PDF. I have it on audio and PDF because I now like to read it and listen to it at the same time. because it's very interesting.
Oh, I'll check it out. I'll
Yeah.
definitely check it out. I'm going to take you up on that. I totally am going to read it, and we're going to talk about it again after I read it, because I want to see. I'm going to write notes, and you and I want to compare notes.
But yeah, it's the whole thing is I don't know. It's like we are totally trying to ignore, or I guess if we're not trying to ignore them, we're trying to. I don't know what the world is trying to do with the information we started with. It seems like regarding the fallen angels, why they came, what occurred after they came, and up to a point we kind of believe that. Then we get to a point where we say, no, none of that happened. Let's go here. This is what's happening. That's going down there. And so you have generations of children who know nothing about that.
Mm-mm.
And so their whole premise is on something that is probably 100% false, and so they're going to try to build their lives and their foundations and their everything and going forward on that. And it's going to do what's going on now. It's going to crumble.
It's amazing.
No,
I completely follow you on all of that. I mean, I think that we are living in, I hate to say this, but it sounds like woo, but it's kind of like the Great Awakening. I think there's people all over the planet that you and I and everybody that have had these experiences that are finally like, something's going on, and we need to talk about it. And I really applaud you for making your film and stepping out and doing this. And I think it's amazing. I think it needs to be done on a grand scale. Honestly, I mean, I really hope it opens the door for other people from any race, creed, color to come out and say, yes, I'm having this experience. This is real. This is what's going on, Let
me tell you, Wendy is a white woman I've never met. And again, I hate going white and black, but I've never met her. But I love her like a sister.
Well, it's great.
Because she spoke to me like a person.
Well, yeah.
It was two people, and I'm not saying that you're not or anything. I'm just saying that's not where I'm going.
All right. Well, it's getting late.
What I'm trying to say is that it is for I want it for everybody to open any question and help anybody. Right. It's not like, because I had a couple of people that thought that by titling it Black People, by putting the word Black in there anywhere, that it was some kind of kick to white people, and it totally wasn't. No. I mean, I've had to explain to them that it's a long-standing hood joke, and it's still some of them. Even after I explained that to them, they just didn't want to hear that. Well, there's no black and white. Everybody sees you. And I said, well, I'm not trying to say anything about that. It's just a long-standing hood joke. And there's even a comedian that did a thing on it. Black people don't see UFOs.
I saw that. Yeah, he did. It was the todayshow.com. I think I read that whole article, and it was just like, that was really funny. But I read that and I laughed. And I'm paraphrasing, but one of the things that I think was his first things, because he had like a numbered system, and I'll post the link down here. But he was saying like, I think he said Black people don't want to come near any type of ship where we don't know the length of how long we're going to be gone for and if we're coming back. And I was like, wow, that was like number one. And I was like, wow, man, that's
number one.
Yeah, but number one.
I've always felt connected. I've always had questions. You just couldn't. Even as a child, like the Song of Solomon in the Bible, where they try to make that be a book about Jesus as the bridegroom. And I would read that and go, I don't understand. And, then I read about Solomon. Of course, he was a womanizer, had 1,200 concubines, this, that, and the other. And there's no way this song where he's singing about breasts and legs and having sex with them, why would they try to make that?
I don't understand. It's just so bizarre.
Stuff out of the Bible. Just take it out if you made a mistake. Why tell this whole big lie about about Jesus? It's just no way. No. I mean, it's the whole thing is bizarre. Say that to say I've never been the person that you could just tell me anything and I would just believe it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
There's very few of us on the planet, and that's great. Most people are just like, oh, okay, fine, let's go. Yeah. Here's the line. Okay, I'll stand in the line. Thanks. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna go. We're gonna jump off the cliff at the end. Okay. Well, we're just gonna keep going. Like, me and you would be like, hell no, that's just not what's happening.
What's over there? Where?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
No.
Not without a push.
No, but a big one. Yeah. No. Patricia, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
I hope I haven't,
You haven't done anything. You've been amazing. I appreciate you. I think you're an amazing human. I applaud all of your work. You have huge balls for doing what you do. just say that like that. I mean that in the best possible way I could possibly imagine.
I understand. Okay. I've been told I've got big balls for a while. To do it.
Okay, great.
I appreciate you having me on. I really do.
Oh yeah, no, I really want to do this more often. Honestly, I mean, I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna read this, and I'm gonna take notes, and I want to talk to you again and just go, back to back and see how we feel about it. I really think you're doing an amazing thing. Don't stop. The van's not gonna pick you up. If I haven't been picked up yet, you're not going to get picked up. If you do get picked up, I will find you. I will make sure. I will pull you out. I'll do whatever it takes. I promise you.
Hold you to that.
I will. I'm going to put
messages in my mind telepathically.
Do it. I swear. I'm going to leave this all in. I will find you. I will do whatever it takes to pull you out. But it's not going to happen. I mean, I really think that the people that were doing that stuff and doing that, like they can't take it. They can't stop it anymore. Just imagine, like everybody in the world has one of these in their pocket. What do you? I mean, back when I was a kid, when you'd have you'd have a VHS camcorder that was this big, and you'd capture something on video, and some guy would show up and be like, "Hey, give me your, I need that thing," and you'd be like, and it'd go away. But now it's like I'm streaming it to YouTube and live on Facebook. Where's it gonna go?
How are they gonna stop it?
You can't stop it. And I think they just got to get on the right side of the story. I think that that's what really this whole thing with the New York Times and all that stuff. I think they're really trying to get on the right side to make them not look like the bad guys.
Oh, I do too. When you stop in the middle of the conversation and say, okay, it's no longer UFO, it's UAP. To me, that's all the disclosure you need. We've changed it because we now need to take it away from the movie thing because something's out there and you guys are probably recorded on your cameras, so let's up front. I love the UAP. I think that's the perfect definition for what I saw.
Well, I think what you saw, I mean, just for me, like when I saw your videos, I mean, honestly, like I said, it was never like, it wasn't anything like I'd seen before. And to me, it was like organic and fluid. And it was like, to me, it was like almost like it was dancing for you. I don't know. This sounds weird, but I mean, that's kind of how I felt like when I was watching it. It was like, it knew you were watching it and it was doing things for you.
When I saw those 12 that time, that's exactly how it felt. It was like they had come to perform for me at that point. There was so many clustered there. And I'm telling you, I didn't know where to point the camera. I didn't want to lose this one. And they were just, it was exactly like that. And then that's when I said the larger one seemed to be the one that said, yep, hey, I see ya. And that scared me.
Well, yeah, I would be a little bit frightened by that too. I mean, honestly, you peek out and you want to see something, but at the same time you don't. And,
right.
It's kind of a really weird thing. I know you talked about ghosts earlier and things like that. And, like I never thought that any of this stuff was connected. I thought those things were up there and these ghost things are just whatever. But for some reason, I think that all of that stuff is connected in some way, in some weird way.
Have you ever read the Science of Getting Rich?
I have not.
Okay, well, there's a Dr. Wallace, and he's explaining some different things about how to get money, but not necessarily the way you think he's talking about. There's a part in there where he says that there are, and he doesn't use the term ghosts, but the unliving amongst us, but that we need to leave them alone.
Oh.
that they're here for a reason. We need to stop trying to contact them. We just need to leave them alone. They're on the same plane, but they have a different purpose. And that when we start trying to really deal with them with that, we upset that purpose. So I mean, I don't know, who knows what the truth, but I have something.
Yeah.
That I want to send you.
Okay, cool.
It's a video. I haven't put it up.
Mm-hmm.
And I really would like somebody's opinion on this one.
Yeah, totally.
It's probably one of the strangest ones I've got.
Ooh. In the sky?
In the sky.
Wow.
And I really would like somebody else
to look at it. Right. No, totally. Yeah. Unbiased. Yeah, completely. Just see what I think. No, totally.
Yeah.
I think that that's amazing that you would share that with me, and I really appreciate that. And I can't wait now. I'm gonna watch it right now.
I'm gonna send it to you tonight. I've been really reluctant to put that one up.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to see that. I mean, I think that'll be awesome. I feel like sometimes, like, the more that I want to go see it, like I want it to happen, that it doesn't. Does that sound weird? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm ready, I'm going to go outside, I'm ready to see something, and then it just doesn't happen.
Well, I think maybe you, I don't want to say I know what to look for, because that's not it so much as I think you just have to be persistent in it. I did this for every night for almost 365 days.
Wow.
Up all day, all night. I mean, as soon as I could see a star anywhere, I was, because after they started, like you say, performing and doing all these things, I really wanted to see. I wanted to see if there was more, and it did. It got more and more and more. And I was telling this lady I was talking to the other night that the more I look at them, because I hadn't looked at all of them. I looked at all of them. I would throw them on the external drive because I was having so many of them. And so now, of course, I'm going back and looking at them, really looking at them and really slowing them down. And I got a little depressed the other day about it, because it's, because I don't really know what they are. I think I know what they are, and this person thinks they know what they are, and they're telling me, and I'm really seeing this stuff, but I would say to you, I didn't set a camera out and hope that something went by. I was there every night and almost every day. And like I said, I don't know, it might have been God that evicted us, because I was, it's like, okay, you need a break.
Just need to sit down for a little bit.
Yeah, you need to sit down for a little bit, because you're getting too involved with this. But I don't know. So that's what I was doing. It wasn't like and there was a point where I did it when I realized there were things in the dark that I wasn't seeing. In other words, I would video one thing, looking at it, and the next thing I know, when I put it in the software and slow it down or change the lighting just a little bit, and all these other things were there.
Right. So it was happening without you visually seeing it, just without even seeing it. Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. I think you want to. It will happen. You'll see something. I hope you do, if that's what you really want. Good night.
You're amazing. Thank you again. A billion times.
I know you said good night one time and I started talking again.
No. There's never a good night. You can talk to me till 4 a.m. We can go outside together somehow and see if we can both film.
When I learn how to stream with my camera, I got it. I'm gonna, and the next thing I see, I'm gonna try to live stream it. I just got to figure out how to do it. I don't exactly know how.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, and so then maybe at that point, everybody that has a negative point of view about it will shut up, right?
Well, you know what I think? I think that's amazing. I think one of the things that, I don't know, it's Tom DeLonge's TTSA thing. Eventually they talked about the app they were going to try to make, and have that happen. And, wouldn't it be, I think they done the podcast and talked about that, but wouldn't it be amazing if there was an app where you went outside and you saw something and you could do the live stream and it would ping, like everybody would get a text or something in an area. Wow. Yeah. So then everybody could get up and be like, and everybody could come out and film it too. And then you have like 500 different angles of people, and
that would be great.
And then it's not a satellite, because they would have all the satellite maps and the plane flights and everything. It would be like, well, everybody's experiencing this right now. There's no way to deny that there's 1,000 people, 10,000 people, whatever. Everybody's experiencing this. We
Yeah.
have proof, I mean, that would be amazing, right? Because there's no way,
Yes.
and that would break down all the barriers. It wouldn't be, I'm afraid to talk about it anymore. It's just happening,
Yeah.
And it could get to the point where, like you were talking about, where you're just bored with it, where it's just, I've actually heard stories. I think it was one of the videos we were talking about with, there's a guy called the Undead Gaucho. It was one of our, yeah, he's a great dude. And he's in Argentina, and he was talking about where, I think where he's at, and even farther south, that they see so many things in the sky that it's just like, they don't even film it. They're just like, it's it's just like a taxi, whatever. It's just there, like. Yeah.
I guess because they haven't actually attacked us, and everybody was kind of waiting for us to get attacked. And I really think, in some cases, even with all this stuff that Elon is sending up, that maybe they're rerouting. Maybe that's why. Because those orange things, I can't imagine if it's almost as if I had 3 or 4 ladders that I could have reached them. They were so low, and you just thought, why would those things be down here this low? It's okay,
Yeah.
And so maybe they just, because I'm thinking they came through 2 buildings, between 2 buildings. And I didn't see all 4, or I guess I did, and I thought it was 1.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're talking at the level of the highest building, apartment building. How tall is that? Not tall, 2 or 2 flat.
It's just amazing that.
Yeah.
You think of the people that are in those buildings, if they would have looked out their window, it would just been like.
They would have. And the other thing I thought about the other day is, why didn't I start yelling? They're here. They're going to attack us. Everybody, wait! Why didn't I do that? You would think that's what you would do, right?
Well, I don't know. I think that's the kind of the Hollywood control mechanism, that they just want you to be afraid of it. I think if they keep us afraid and separated,
yeah,
we're going to freak out, But I mean, I think if they're here and they're here to be nice, or at least benevolent, right?
If they didn't attack me and my son that night on that porch, I don't think they're going to attack at all. It's like.
No, I don't. I think that if they wanted to, they wouldn't have to. It would just be done.
It would be done.
Yeah, I think they're just here to help us, honestly, or help us awaken and unite as a species, or unite, like come together. And I really think that the only way we're gonna get through this is love, compassion, tolerance. I think that we need to join together as an entire species and just be. Spread, have that vibration of love, and just do that. I think that's the only way we're going to get through this. I think there's that fear and there's that love, and I really think that we need to generate that love. And I think doing what you're doing is amazing. I think you're doing awesome, and I really applaud you for what you're doing. I think that's awesome. If I can help in any way, please, I'm on board. I think it's awesome. Seriously, I know you don't want to trust the white guy from Ohio, but
no. Well, let me tell you, I looked at your YouTube channel, and even though I was very nervous, as I'm thinking, I can't keep up with them. They know what they're talking about. I haven't looked into all that stuff. I'm not a researcher, but it was something so easy about your conversation and some of the things you spoke on that I think I knew we would be cool.
Oh man,
we would have a good, cool conversation, and I could say what I felt. Yeah. And even if you have to cut some of that out, it's okay. It was nice speaking to you.
No, I won't cut any of it out. No, I appreciate you, and I'm speaking to you from the, and that's just how I've been my whole life. I just speak from the heart. Sometimes it's got me in trouble. Most of the time, it's landed me in an all right spot. So.
There you go.
There you go. And no, thank you so much. Honestly, I appreciate it. And we're going to do this again. I'm going to read this. We're going to get back together. I'm going to, I'm going to keep talking to you. I'm going to hang out with you. I want you to come on and hang out with me and talk with other people too, if you want to. I think that would be awesome. Think about it. You don't have to say yes right now.
I would love that. And I appreciate it. Well, I honestly, God, I thought it was going to be like 10 people here going, where did you see that? Who are you? Where did you get that from?
No. Not at all. Not at all. No, it's just,
that would have really made me nervous.
No, I know. Totally. No. It's funny because it's like, there's only so many people you can talk to about this stuff. only a handful of people that
Okay.
there's only like a handful of people that I can talk to about this stuff. And those guys that I talk to, I mean, you know, Jay from Project Unity, Jean-Luc, the Undead Gaucho, like there's, you know, like there's a handful of guys, you know, fortunately I say guys because that's what it is. But, you know, now, thank you, the people that I could talk to about this stuff, because most of the time, like I can't even talk to my wife about this. She's just like, what are you, like, do you need to go on meds? Like, what's your problem? You know, like, but like most people just look at you like, you know, whatever. But I mean, some people get it. And I really appreciate the conversation and being able to speak your mind and speak freely about it. And I love it. I mean, I think it's honestly like, it makes me feel great when we talk about this stuff. And
oh, good.
And I appreciate it.
That's all. I don't think we can fix this if we don't speak and we don't talk, right?
Totally.
But you've gone again there. Okay. You still there? Can you hear me?
But we're going to get there is what you were saying. We're going to get there at some point, right? To talk. And
we're going to get there. We're going to get there.
Perfect. Patricia, thank you so much. Thank you.
All righty.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Much
I'm going
love.
to send you this video.
I want to see it. As soon as you send it, I'm going to be like, I'm going to put it on the big screen. I got to see it.
Well, you look at it first.
Okay. All right. I'll look at it first.
And then, all right.
I trust you.
Have a good night.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Oh, it's
going to be
video.
Good.
It's very interesting.
Okay. I'm going to be emailing you right afterwards.
Sky. It's very interesting.
I'm going to email you right afterwards and be like,
all righty.
We have to have another call, maybe. Don't go too far away. Charge that microphone. Have a good night. Thanks again.
All right. I'm going to send it to you, and I'll talk with you soon.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.